Hi everyone. How are you doing today? If you're not familiar with this video format, in these quick guides I try to quickly go over all the information you need in order to start playing a Pokemon, so this is supposed to work like an introduction for such Pokemon. And in today's quick guide, we'll take a look at Chandelure. Chandelure is a long-range attacker that similarly to other Pokemons like Espeon and Gardevoir deals most of his damage through moves, rather than using basic attacks. This Pokemon has the ability to do a huge amount of damage in large areas, being able to hit multiple enemies at a time, as well as having strong moves to incapacitate opponents. You also leave your enemies burning, making it hard for them to score or teleport back towards their base. As you would expect with an attacker, you can deal a lot of damage for your team while being very frail. This also holds true with Chandelure. You have an amazing damage output, but you'll go down if an enemy can get close to you. As far as the early game goes, Chandelure does not have the best early game, but it isn't the worst one as well, since you actually have a move to last hit from a good range that can also help you fight. But you should try your best to reach level 5 as fast as possible, so you can unlock one of your most damaging moves and start really helping your team. For that reason I would recommend running this Pokemon in the central area, but if you really want to, you can also try the bottom path as well. Now, with all of that in mind, let's head to the practice area to take a look at what Chandelure can do inside your matches. Starting with your passive ability. Whenever you deal damage, your attacks will ignore 2.5% of your enemy's special defense for 4 seconds, stacking up to 8 times, for a total of 20% special defense reduction. Every time you get a new stack, you'll reset their duration. So as long as you keep dealing damage, you'll have this passive fully stacked most of the time. The damage dealt through the burn also counts towards this passive. Since every time you burn a Pokemon you deal damage 5 times, it's really easy to get all of your stacks. Your boosted basic attack works like Mime or Espeon's. You'll get a boosted attack after that bar is filled, which takes 5 seconds. It can hit multiple targets, burning and slowing their movement speed by 30%. The burn lasts 2.5 seconds. This is the best way to quickly stack your passive, so whenever you have the chance, you should try starting the fight with a boosted attack to get more damage with your moves. For your first move, you'll first have to choose to start with either Ember or Nightshade. I recommend starting with Ember, so you have an easier time fighting the first wild Pokemons. You'll get the other move at level 3. So, Ember shoots out a flame that deals damage to one enemy, slowing their movement speed by 20% while also leaving it with a burn. You also can use this move again within 5 seconds, before the cooldown starts. Until you reach level 5, this will be where most of your damage will come from. So you'll use it to both fight and secure farm. If you're defending your goal zone, the burn will be really helpful to stop those scores. Your other option here is Nightshade. This move deals a small amount of damage to everyone inside the area. The next time you deal damage to anyone hit by Nightshade, they will be stunned for 1 second. Your burns can also trigger the stun. This move is way stronger to use against opponents, rather than wild Pokemons. The stun can give you and your teammates an opportunity to take someone down, so try to have this move ready if your opponents are getting close. Then at level 5 you'll evolve and has to choose a new move. It can be either Flamethrower or Overheat. Let's first talk about Flamethrower. It shoots a flame with a fixed trajectory that explodes when it reaches its maximum distance. If you hit someone with the explosion, this move's cooldown will be reduced by 65%. This move also burns everyone you hit. When this move upgrades, if you can hit someone with the last explosion, you'll deal 20% extra damage for 3 seconds. The explosion itself is affected by this buff. This move has the potential to deal a lot of damage, almost one-shotting weaker targets and quickly shaving off the health bar of tankier opponents. But since you can't get the explosion to trigger close to you, it works better when you're far away from your opponents. So if you have a defender that can keep your enemies away from you as well as give you vision, this move will be way stronger. Keep in mind that you'll get the extra cooldown if anything is hit by the explosion. So you can hit someone close to you and still hit a wild Pokemon with the explosion, to get the cooldown anyway. With the bonus damage you get from the upgraded move, you should always aim to get the extra cooldown, to make use of this buff and keep it up while you're fighting. Your other move option here is Overheat. While holding this move, you'll attack 3 times, leaving the enemies you hit burned. You can aim each hit individually. After hitting the first 2 blasts, you'll get a counter for each, the third one will give you 2. Then after this move is used, you can do a follow-up that deals damage and reduces its cooldown based on how many counters you had. The more counters you have, the more damage you'll get, and the less counters you have, the shorter your cooldown will be, going from 30% with 2 of them and 75% if you didn't hit any of the blasts. After the follow-up, you won't be able to use your basic attacks for a short time. So if you have a boosted attack ready, you can use it beforehand. This move also leaves your targets burning. When Overheat receive its upgrade, the cooldown will be reduced by 1 second. Both moves receive their upgrades at level 11. So, as far as the range, this move is way more versatile than Flamethrower, being able to get its full effects from close and long range. Just keep in mind that the last blast is the most important if you want to get a stronger follow-up, but if you happen to miss this move, you'll be able to use it again faster. Since this move deals a ton of damage if you hit everything, this is by far the best move if you're facing enemies with low maximum HP. It also works if you're fighting against Pokémons that can approach you easily. Then when you reach level 7, you get to choose your next move. Both options will make you able to incapacitate your opponents in some way. Your options here are either Poltergeist or Imprison. Starting with Poltergeist. This move creates a square with floating furniture near each corner. Any Pokémon that walks through the border of the square will be slowed by 65% for 1 second. The same will happen if they walk into the furniture, but in this case they will also take some damage as well. When this move upgrades, the slow when someone step into the edges of the square will be increased to 80%. You can't rely on your enemies just walking towards the floating tables, so your best chance to hit them is to use this move so they spawn right on top of your opponents. Besides that, this move is great at slowing your enemies from far away. Since the area you create is too large for them to quickly walk around, your opponents will be forced to walk inside your Poltergeist most of the time. If they are not that far away, you can use this move around your target as well. This slow is very effective at keeping enemies at distance if they're already far away. So again, if your team has a good defender to protect you. The other option is Imprison. This move will create a zone in front of Chandelure for 4 seconds. Enemies inside this area will not be able to use any moves. And the first enemy that gets hit by this move will be immobilized for a short while. And this means that they will not be able to leave that spot for this time. They can't walk or use moves to change their position while this effect is active. When this move upgrades, every enemy hit by Imprison will be immobilized for a short time. Both moves receive their upgrades at level 13. This move is really strong. Not only you immediately shut down Pokémons that can easily jump towards you, making it easier for you to retreat or fight back. You can't aim this move to reach as far as Poltergeist since Imprison is launched from your current position, but the reward you get for a well-placed Poltergeist is almost unmatched. The ability to lock many opponents at a time out of their moves can almost erase the opposing team's damage output, at least from Pokémons that attack from close range. This move is not that great against ranged attackers, since this move will not reach that far. So yeah, great move at protecting you and your team from Pokémons that want to get closer to you. And lastly, we have Chandelure's Unite move. With 112 seconds of cooldown. This move will first reduce the vision of enemies around you for 3 seconds. Good players will know where you are standing if they saw you using this move though. The reduced vision works like Greninja's smokescreen. You will not be able to even see your teammates on the mini-map. After that, you can activate this move once again. You'll not be able to move and will shoot a beam that deals a lot of damage and can be redirected mid-animation. The beam's final hit deals more damage. The buffs you get from this Unite move are 30% extra movement speed and a shield equal to 40% of your maximum HP. This move not only deals a crazy amount of damage, but sometimes reducing your enemy's vision with a huge shield can be what you need to run away from a bad situation. The beam itself deals massive damage and can easily melt whole health bars from squishier targets. And since Rayquaza and the Regis don't move around a lot, this is also a great tool to quickly finish them off. But you'll not be unstoppable while using this move, so if you're not well positioned when activating the beam, you can be stunned and have your move immediately cancelled. And that's every tool Chandelure has inside your matches. But now, let's take a look outside your matches, starting with your battle items. My recommendations are either X Speed, for some extra mobility, helping you run away when you need to, or Eject button, so you can quickly reposition to both hit your moves or get out of your enemy's way. And now for the held items. There are some options you can go for, such as the Slick Spoon. Chandelure has the ability to ignore some of the special defense already, but since it's not that high, the spoon still works really well. Next, the choice specs for some extra damage on your moves. This item's effect can also trigger with your burns, so you will always get a lot from this item. Your moves don't scale amazingly with your special attack, but you can go for items to increase your special attack, like the Wise Glasses or the special attack specs. The first one is more effective, since your base special attack is already really high. In my opinion, these items will work better when using Flamethrower. You can also run Energy Amplifier for some extra damage on your Unite move, paired with some extra cooldown reduction. And if you're looking for more cooldown, I would consider Shell Bell as well. It is significantly less useful than Energy Amplifier, but if you want the maximum cooldown reduction you can try running both. Next, Buddy Barrier for some extra survivability when you use your Unite move. Focus Band also helps to keep you alive, but since you don't have that much HP or defenses, most of the time you will not survive even with its effect. And if you want some extra damage, especially in the early game, you can also run a Muscle Band to help you with your basic attack. You'll not use your basic attack that much later in the match though. Besides those items, I wouldn't recommend any other option here. Lastly, for some boost emblem choices, you should prioritize any green or black emblems that increase either your maximum health or your special attack. If you don't have enough emblems, try to maximize these two colors, regardless of which stat they actually increase. Overall, Chandelure is a really strong mid to late game Pokemon, with flexible moves that can help you in a variety of team compositions and against a lot of opponents. I hope you enjoyed and found this video helpful. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate having you around. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you next time.